what is that saying? Like hoping that shit hits the fan or sticks to the fan or sticks
Something
to
it
the
sticks to the
wall or
wall. Yeah.
something wall. I don't know. Why are you
Yeah.
throwing shit at the wall? Is that Eric back there?
Yeah. Are you
He looks
shirtless?
naked. He looks naked.
Why are you shirtless? He goes, he's like, did you see him?
Oh
Cover up,
God.
cover up his titties. Yo, it is 50. It is our 52nd podcast episode, and Laura's fucking lost in the Bermuda Triangle. She's missing out on our 1 year anniversary.
Dude,
Bitch.
I just sent her her birthday gift too. When did she leave? She left already. So it's just sitting at her apartment. Damn.
I know. Yeah, she left
Supposed to
early
get
this
there
morning.
today.
She told me she was constipated because she like had a 3:30 wake up.
Oh, oh yeah, I'd be constipated too.
Dude, I probably would just pack an enema to go. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yep, yep, right up the butt.
So you
But
are anemic. What's
oh,
the deal with your
I've been
blood?
anemic. I've
Yeah.
known I've been anemic, very much anemic.
Yeah.
Like I don't know when it started, if it started because of my eating disorder, but my mom's anemic, my sister's anemic. I think it's
Mhm.
just we anemic bitch.
Genetic. Yeah.
But yeah, like my MCV, MCH, MCHC, all of that tanked.
Where was
Tanked.
your iron and ferritin? Was it low, I guess? So,
Yeah, yeah, it was low.
do you use
Everything is low.
ferritin at all or colostrum to help with that?
I don't. I did add in L-glutamine, and I'm gonna add in colostrum though
Hmm.
to a morning drinky drink.
Yeah.
But he had me get iron capsules, and I was like, I don't know if I really want to do that because I've done it in the past, and it makes things a little weird.
Does it
But I
make you
added
look
in.
constipated?
Yeah, so I was super constipated Sunday, Monday, yeah, Sunday and Monday, super bloated. And I was like,
Mhm.
okay, it will pass. My body just needs to get used to iron in its system. And then it turned into diarrhea. And I was still bloated. And I was like,
Wow.
man, like,
What
I've been
form was
anemic.
it?
What?
What form of iron was it? Because I've had like
Ferrous?
what
Ferrous? Ferrous?
I
Am I
use.
saying that right?
Let me see if I can find.
Because I've used multiple types in the past, and like they all do the same thing. I just get constipated, backed up, and then I shit myself. So I'm like, I'd rather just right now add in more iron into my diet. So I added in more like beef liver
Yeah, beef
and
liver would be
just,
good.
yeah. And I used to eat beef liver like it was going out of style, and then I just
Hmm.
stopped.
Yeah.
And that's when, like, I've noticed it. Like, I get lightheaded a lot during
Yeah.
training. I go vasovagal for my labs. I'm just like, I knew I was anemic and I knew I haven't been supporting it.
Yeah.
So
I
that's
use in my clients that are like there's gentle iron from
mm-hmm.
Solgar, excuse me. It's gentle on the stomach. It is iron biglycinate, so I have seen that the biglycinate form is a little bit
Better than just,
better than yeah, than some irons because some irons will literally just like plug you up.
yeah, it is. But I was gonna add in because I've used, where is it? This Ferrosorb by Thorn. I've used that in the past.
That sounds
I
like a
might get that
Pokemon.
Ferrosorb. But it has like ferrous bisglycinate. There we
Hmm.
go. And it has obviously vitamin C and folate too in it.
Yeah.
And I've used that before and it wasn't bad. So I just opted for strictly just iron this
Hmm.
time. It was by Thorn. So I was like, oh, okay. And yeah, no. Thank God that the pill was like easily identifiable because I spread it out in my little tackle box already. I was like, I'm gonna shit myself all month. So I like went
You're
in
like
like,
playing like roulette with your
yeah, I was like,
supplements.
well, maybe.
That's
God. But
That's
yeah,
the
we're
one.
good.
Yeah, that's the one thing I'll say about morphogen supplements. I know they use dyes and shit, and that like some people like
Hmm.
literally freak out about a little capsule dye, but they
Oh
color
God.
coordinate their shit. So if I'm having a reaction, like I'll
Yeah.
know which one to pull, but not that I've ever had a reaction, but like
Yeah.
they color coordinate stuff.
Hmm. But other than that, my labs looked pretty Gucci
Good.
for somebody who doesn't want to have babies, you know. Like
I
as
can
Gucci as it's
relate.
gonna
Like
get.
estrogen and progesterone be like, but everything else be fine. Let's be
You're
good.
like, oh, okay. But yeah,
Well,
we're good. Thyroid was Gucci. That was real
good.
good. Liver enzymes were great.
Hmm.
I did mess up, and I did want to actually say this on the podcast because I have a lot of clients who listen to it too. When you get labs done, you want to go hydrated, obviously. And when you go in, obviously, with more muscle mass, your AST and ALT will likely be up a little bit. Same with like bun
Yeah.
and creatinine, just by having more muscle on our frame. So it's not like, oh my God, you got kidney disease. Holy shit, you got liver cirrhosis. Like,
Just a
no,
big bitch. Like,
you're just a big bitch. Yeah. But I hydrated, but how I hydrate in the morning is I take a half a scoop of my Relight every single morning. Like it's
hmm.
just clockwork. It's what I do.
Yeah.
And this morning for my labs, you're supposed to just do plain water,
Yeah.
but I
Or
added
salt water.
more salt into it.
Hmm.
And that jacked up my kidney levels a little bit
Hmm.
more than they probably already were. And he's like, oh shit, we should get like a cystatin C when we run this cycle. And I was like, I'm gonna pass out again. Oh my God. But then I explained the electrolytes, and I was like, that's probably why. And then
Yeah.
he was like, oh, I didn't even know it could do that. And then, yeah. So don't drink electrolyte water when you go in for your labs.
Yeah. Just
Plain
do like regular salt water. Be a
HB water.
fish.
Yeah. Be a little fish.
Be a
But
fish.
yeah, everything else was sweet. So we are proceeding with the juicy juice. Excited. Very excited.
I love that. I love that. Eric was
How are you?
telling me he was looking at like our YouTube analytics because a couple of like episodes popped off, but our most I guess watched, viewed, whatever the fuck you want to call it, YouTube video was softcore porn bodybuilding. That was like the title or whatever. And this is the deal. 98% were male. And it had a
Mm.
watch rate of 30 seconds because they were legit waiting for us to do like some type of softcore porn. And they were like, oh,
Oh.
click away.
So
Eric
we
was
just
like, he
come
was
up with
literally like,
the
why are there all these men watching you guys? But
what
like for
nasty.
Spotify, all women. All
That's
women.
funny. God, so we just need like some raunchy title just to
Dude,
like
legit, just
get
like
people in. And then be like, well, today we're talking about minstrel shedding. Just
dressed like a
ruin their
tampon, just
day.
hi.
Joke's on you dirty fuck.
Isn't
God,
that
that's
so
funny.
funny?
That's good.
Oh my god, dude. Oh my god. Is there anything grinding your gears? Anything you want to pop off about? She's like,
Where do I start? No,
lay it on
honestly,
me.
I feel like my gears aren't really grinded right now. I feel pretty chill.
You feel chill?
Yeah,
You
besides
like
people.
popped off with that one post about training intensity.
Okay, well, I'm always a little on edge
She's
about the
like, that's
train.
my trigger.
That's my trigger is when people train like
She's
pussy.
like triggered.
But honestly, though, I actually reposted this one girl's little really real. It was a good one today. It
The
was
hack
like,
squat bitch.
yeah, like saying like, oh, I go to the gym 6 days a week, and she's like, her form is just like bouncing up and down,
Hmm.
and she's like, why am I not gaining like size? And then the other clip was her actually struggling through reps, and it was showing like the opposite.
Hmm.
It's just people think like you can just go in and just do the program however you want, and just kind of like skate by and gain all this size. It's like they're the same people who think that they're going to get bulky from lifting just like 5 pound weights or something.
Or they're
Like,
thinking that they'll blow up when they touch, like just touch Anavar. Like,
oh my God. Or creatine.
or
Not the
create
creatine.
God.
God, Will bought creatine the other day and I about flipped. I was like, what's next? Trin? Like what's next? You know? So I had to have a talk with him. But no, like, dude, how do people still believe that shit?
I
God.
had a call with a girl that she was going to ask me about bikini posing, and she's like, "Well, people told me wellness because I had bigger legs." And I'm like, "Hold on,
Yeah,
hold on.
yeah.
Do you have big legs because you are muscle, or do you have big legs because you still have body fat you need to lose?" And she's like, "Well, I'm not overweight." And she sent me her photos. And was she overweight by like American standards? No, but she still had 35, 40 pounds to lose. I was like, "You are not wellness. You are bikini that needs to diet longer." She's like, "Well, I've been in prep for 20 weeks." I was like, it doesn't matter. Like, I mean, I'm not telling you this because I'm being mean. Like, I'm telling you
Yeah.
the truth. Like, you are not wellness. You are just, you have 35 more pounds to lose before you step on stage, whether you do NPC or OCB, because she was thinking about doing OCB. And I'm like, that's fine. But like, they still have a fucking criteria for conditioning. It's not as shredded as NPC is, but like, I sent her two athletes that were in bikini, both OCB that
Yeah.
I've coached and NPC that I've coached. I was like, you are nowhere near this. Like, I get your friend is coaching you, but like, if you want to be a bodybuilder, you need to hire a bodybuilding coach. Like, your friend and everyone else that's saying like you're ready or your wellness, like they might be like trying to hype you up, or they may have good intentions, but good intentions are not always going to be honest, right? Because they
Hmm.
don't want to hurt your feelings. But like, I'm not gonna like be like, oh yeah, you're a fat fucking piece of shit, but I will be honest with you, being like, you're 35 pounds above stage weight. Like, that's just the honest truth of it.
Hmm. And I get it. Like there's some people who want to just do bodybuilding to like check it off their bucket list. But still,
Hmm.
you want to get on stage and actually be competitive, regardless of why you're doing it. And a good coach won't just say like, "Oh yeah, you want to do wellness? You're wellness." Yeah. Like not everybody can be wellness. I'm learning that. Like
I'm
it's
not.
been
I
yeah,
wanted to be, but I'm fucking not.
it is hard as hell for me to be. And
Yeah.
I'm like still working on it 4 years later.
Yeah.
But
Like, bitch, I'm barely bikini.
God. But I had a very hard time with doing that in the beginning of my coaching career, I'd say, because in the beginning, I didn't work with a lot of competitors. Like
Hmm.
obviously it's not like my ideal clientele
Sure.
because that's just not where longevity is in
Hmm.
coaching. That's why we need to be well versed in all avenues of coaching with like functional, gut, all that shit.
Lifestyle,
Um,
just general people wanting to actually be
Lifestyle.
healthy.
Yeah, that's what pays the bills, to be honest. But I do love working with competitive athletes who are in it to win it kind of thing. But even with that, like in the beginning, when I would get inquiries for competitors and they would say, like, oh, I want to do figure, but they look like bikini and they want to compete next year, I'll be like, okay, yeah, sure, let's do it. But like now I'm like, fuck no. Fuck no.
Like, we could do it
Like
in 5 years.
in 5 years. Like I'm more realistic. I detach the emotion side and I'm just like, I know this is what you want to do,
Mm,
but you're hiring me to get you into competitive shape and to bring you in at your best. So I'm not going to lie and sugarcoat things and say that you're a division that you are clearly not,
mm-hmm.
or say that like you're ready to compete, you know?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I think a good conversation to talk about when it comes to like the competitor mindset. And this is kind
Mhm.
of like going off on a little bit of a tangent, but I think it's really important to understand like the distinction between like giving it your all and doing whatever it takes. And for example, like there are plenty of like high tier Mr. O winning Olympians that give it their all, that utilize all of their time, their money, their resources, their sponsorships, YouTubes, whatever, to bringing their best, to bringing the best and seeing the best out of bodybuilding
Mhm.
versus doing whatever it takes. And it seems like at a glance, like they're pretty much the same, but they're really not. Because if you look back and watch like videos from Arnold, like whether it was Pumping Iron and like kind of like the little documentaries that followed
Yeah.
him, he would like essentially sabotage like other individuals. He would like, sabotage their posing, get inside their head, and like that's kind of doing whatever it takes to win. Like he would kind of like, he would do anything to secure a win to gain advantage. And if that meant kind of like playing a little dirty and kind of like get inside people's heads, like he would do that. And
Mhm.
at first, like I think it's really important to focus on giving it your all and focusing on your personal growth. Like bringing your best and being realistic and having the actions to bring your best. And when it comes to being patient in the sport of bodybuilding, like building your foundations, being consistent, having priorities, setting boundaries. Like those are the things that are
Mhm.
going to carry you and improve your longevity in the sport versus just being like, oh, I want to pay a $150 coach to have this like cookie cutter meal plan, cookie cutter training, and cutter drug protocol
Yeah.
just so I can get my pro card in a year and then the bill comes due. and my labs and my health is just shit.
Yeah. That's really I wanted to because you said something about like the boundaries and like your decisions when it
Mhm.
comes to competing, it does matter. And
Yep.
I think a lot of people think that, and I think I've talked about it before, it's like half or part-time bodybuilders expecting full-time bodybuilder results.
Yes. Yes.
And that's when like I get it. In our off season, sure, like I'm gonna have more date nights with my man. We're gonna have more treats here and there, and we're gonna be able to go experience some things and take some time off that I probably won't be able to in prep. But at the same time, and this applies to regular like gym pop people too, they do this a lot too. Um, is like I'm not going to, I have potentially 3 more months of this year. And then we'll probably, start pre-prep and then start prep. But I'm not going to take the next 3 months to be a total dick, total jackass with my
Mhm.
diet and go out and party and I don't drink, but like do X, Y, and Z and sabotage myself
Right.
for a successful prep. And people do this gearing up for like diet phases, gut health phases, and things like that too. Like, oh, I had like a pizza, Ben and Jerry's, a crumble cookie, and X, Y, and Z as a last hurrah before this. It's like, why?
Bruh, it reminds me of those
Right?
fucking My 600 Pound Life before they get their surgery. They have like one like last supper where they just
Yeah.
like balls
Yeah,
to the walls. And I'm like, you're missing the goddamn point.
yeah. But I get it. Like, yeah, I have a last supper before prep, but it's no different than my regular off-plan meal. I'm not going to sit there and binge myself into a coma, you know?
Then
And
I'd
I think,
argue it's not a last supper because like
no,
you're
it's
just
not
having an
because the
off-plan
food's
meal that
always
you're
there.
you're just being a
Yeah,
normal person. You're not like
exactly.
going to fucking I don't do they even have buffets anymore? I swear to God, I've not seen a buffet. Like a Golden
It,
Corral. Did that even exist anymore?
I think so. We got a
Does it?
China buffet. We got a
Okay, that
Chinese buffet.
isn't okay, like an American buffet. I've not seen like an American buffet since like the early 2000s. Like, when you like are done with church on Sunday and you like go to like the
Oh, yeah.
hometown buffet, that was like my family. But like, yeah, like for you, I wouldn't call that a last supper. I would just call that your final free meal at prep, you
Yeah,
know?
my final free meal. Yeah. And but I wanted to shout out my coach, Cameron, because I screenshot something that he actually sent to one of his other athletes. I was like, fuck. Like I needed to read that. And he said, obviously talking to another client about who's a bodybuilder. But
Mhm.
he said, to accomplish what we are working for and what I know you are capable of is going to require us to move in a way that follows the mindset of everything that we do has to pass judgment on how it impacts our direction and goal as a bodybuilder. If
Mhm.
it does water your roots, then it's not coming close to harming our dream slash goal. You do that, and that's how you get what you want in this sport.
Mhm.
Like that's what gets you like from point A to point B kind of thing, and like the maturity level of an athlete. Who from Phoenix, Arizona is calling me. Get out
Fuck
of here.
Phoenix. Yeah, I
Fuck.
mean, absolutely. It's like bringing your best and focusing on your personal growth. And like,
Hmm.
we want to win. Like, we're not like you and I do competitive bodybuilding to win. Not everyone wants to win. Some are bucket lists. Some just like
Yeah.
want to see what it's like. That's fine. But like, when you get to a certain level in bodybuilding and you want to win, like, we're not doing this for shits and kicks. But there are some people that want to win so bad they're indifferent to their personal development. They don't just
Yeah.
care. They just want to like stomp on others to elevate themselves. And like I think it's really important to understand the delicate balance in a competitor's mindset. We want
Hmm.
to win. Duh. But our victory should come from delivering our best performance, our best physique, our best package to date, not from the shortcomings of others. Like when you
Yeah.
step on your Olympia or your wellness pro debut, you don't want to be against like a bunch of like C tier wellness people. You want to be up against other wellness competitors that you will want to be competing against at the O, because that's your
Hmm.
end goal is the O. Same thing for
Hmm.
me. The next time I step on stage, I don't want to be competing against people that didn't bring their best. I don't want to be against people that cheated on their diet and didn't bring a level of conditioning, that skipped down on their cardio, that, did all of these things or maybe didn't do all of these things and therefore they didn't bring their best. Like I want to bring my best and be up against the best. And if I lose against the best, bruh, game on, that I need to elevate even further. And like that's how I want my bodybuilding to journey to be. But it starts with wanting to win by bringing my best. And I feel like that is so slept on nowadays, where people just want to win and they
Mhm.
don't care about how they do it, which is why they get reckless and they get impatient. And we see women taking a bunch of fucking drugs that destroy their femininity, that destroy their body. And yes, that's their choice, but then we never see from them again on stage, you know? So I'm like, well, what was that all for? A pro card, and then we never see you on the pro stage? Like that fucking sucks,
Mhm.
dog.
Yeah, yeah. That's why, like, when I did poorly at Tampa and I like hung up the heels kind of thing, I was like, fuck bodybuilding. I knew I was gonna eventually come back, but it was like it was it was a win on like an if kind of
Mm-hmm.
thing. But that is so true with that. I think a lot of people are just like, oh, I don't care how I get nationally qualified as long as I'm nationally qualified and then I can do nationals. But it's like, okay, you won either because you were the only person in your class or you were going up against potatoes. But then you
We
expect
start
to
saying that. We just start saying going up against potatoes.
potatoes. So you want to stand next to some filet mignons on
Ooh.
stage at nationals and then get your ass beat, you know?
Yeah.
You always want to go into a show that is stacked, not stacked, truly stacked.
Really stacked.
But like me, like I want to do a lot of the big shows next year. Will
Yeah.
I win the big shows? Probably not. But do I want to bring my best to each show and be compared next to the person who is winning that big show? Hell yeah,
Mhm.
because what would it mean if I literally do one random like small show, get my O qualification, and then place third call outs or not at all at the Olympia? It's like that was kind of pointless. Cool, I made it to the Olympia, but like it's the same thing for like nationals though too. I mean, it's a little different, but still, like I'm gonna do the big shows. Sure, I might do like a smaller show like once or twice to gain that qualification, but I'm not gonna not do the big shows because I'm scared of losing. Because I think we lose, and that's how we level up as athletes. It's all in how you handle that fail or that lose. So, well,
Absolutely.
not
Absolutely.
lose.
And that's the thing. Like you're focused on bringing your best, right? Like that's how you want to win is by bringing your best. And that's super important versus like just like I said, just being so short-sighted on
Mhm.
like a short-term goal. Because like obviously, like as competitors, if you're doing this sport to be competitive and you want to earn your pro card and you want to win pro shows, you want to go to the Olympia, there are baby steps that you need to take, right? You can't just be like, oh, within a year, I'm gonna be at the Olympia, unless you were like fucking
Yeah.
tiramisu and not
Yeah.
like a honey bun. You know what I'm saying? But if you
Mhm.
got honey bun genetics, you got to be realistic. And as someone that has honey bun genetics, when I first got into the sport, I just was so enamored. The total like honeymoon phase. I was like, I'm gonna get my pro card in 2 years. I'm gonna use other drugs because of the sponsorships. And let me tell you, it's been almost 6 years, and I'm still an amateur. Okay.
Yeah.
And granted, I know my journey has been very, very different. I've had different coaches.
Yeah.
I have trained for different divisions out of a coach wanting me to versus me wanting to do a different division. And I finally have accepted I'm not going to be Megan Santa Barbara. And that breaks my heart, but I love watching Megan Santa Barbara just thrive in her element. But if I can be my best in bikini, bro, I love that for me. I love that
Yeah.
for me because bodybuilding is such a fucking privilege to do. Like you literally pay for this shit. Like you pay
Yeah.
to eat in a surplus. You pay to eat in a deficit. Like it is such a fucking blessing to be here, guys. And if you can just focus on bringing your best and doing your best every single day as an athlete in the sport, but also just as a person in general, that is how we elevate the sport and make it more respected versus people just thinking like, oh, you're a bodybuilder. Do you use drugs? And like, that's like the reputation of the sport. And like, that's so shitty. Like, that's so shitty. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's so defeating to be like, oh, do you use drugs? Yeah, but I also train hard.
That doesn't matter. It's not,
Be like,
that's
oh,
not
well,
a
I could look like you if I use drugs. Like, do it then.
sure.
Do
Okay.
it.
Me.
Show
Do
me.
it.
Prove it.
Prove me wrong. Like that cracks me up because like you walk into a fucking EOS or a Crunch or some, life, I don't know, LA Fitness, half of those motherfuckers are running crazy cycles. People who shouldn't even
Probably
have,
like
yeah, probably more.
80%.
freaking grandma doing calisthenics in the corner, or her little Zumba class is probably running something. You never
She's
know.
she's
But
using
like,
peptides. Like you don't know.
yeah,
She's got fucking BPC. She got TB for her hips. Grandma's
dude,
thriving.
God, like the amount of people who just like pop like, oh, I'm just gonna take Winstrol and Anavar and just throwing just random shit together, hoping like, what is that saying? Like hoping that shit hits the fan or sticks to the fan or sticks
Something
to
it
the
sticks to the
wall or
wall. Yeah.
something wall. I don't know. Why are you
Yeah.
throwing shit at the wall anyway? But like, you know, they're doing it that way. And I think people just are so delusional that they think that, no one takes drugs, or no one like in the general population world
Mhm.
takes steroids, and oh my God, like yeah, most people do, and they do it worse than bodybuilders because they don't have a clue of what they're doing. They have no guidance. They
Bro, we
see
had
like,
people like popping vitamin Anavar with their Flintstone gummies, not thinking twice, but they like have a fucking cow over something like insulin or God
oh
forbid,
my
like
God,
artificial sweeteners. Like granted, like
oh my God,
I'm not saying to like snort like fucking
yeah,
sucralose. I'm not saying that, but like for Christ's sake, like you don't even know where your Anavar or Winstrol is coming from, and you're bitching to me about drinking a Diet Coke.
dude, it's like something's messed up in here if that's your priority there. But that kills me
I
that
know.
people freak out about TRT, growth, insulin, but then they're like, oh, I'll just take an 8 week cycle of 20 megs of Anavar and just be like, okay, 4 weeks off, I'll go back on.
Or fucking they'll
Like
use shit, what's the Ostarine. They'll just fuck with
Ostarine or
Os.
MK677 and all these fucking pro hormones, peptide shit. It's like, what, just use the shit that's actually been researched and studied and that has tests that you can test your shit with. You can't test the Austrian and stuff. I mean, your peptide, like Amino Asylum, they do like the reviews and
Yeah.
stuff with their peptides, but like, why are you using that when we have access to way better shit? And honestly, the whole, oh, I don't want to inject, and that's why they do Anavar. If you're not willing to pen, why are you even considering steroids? Like, there's
Bro.
way better alternatives, better for your health and just well-being in general. But like, I'm not telling people to like, take a bunch of like TRT or Trin or all these like crazy compounds. Like, no, I just don't want you to fuck up your liver by popping Anavar left and right, thinking that it's nothing. It's just a little piece of candy kind of thing.
Yeah,
Because
like
not,
listen, if you're not willing to inject, fine, well, we can use Anavar, but like you in order to play, you better pay, which means you better have health supplements in stack
that,
and you better
oh,
have lab work pre and post.
dude. I hate that shit. It's like, don't pester me about getting on a cycle and then complain about your supplement bill or the fact that we have to get labs a couple times a year. Like, I mean, if you want to mess up your health, go see another coach who will just say like, I don't need to test labs. Like, I cannot tell you the amount of times I've been on a consult call and I go over their last preps and stuff, and they tell me their cycles and all this stuff. And I'm like, oh wow, okay, all
You're like,
right.
oh,
Yikes. And then I'm like, okay, so how were your labs after that prep? Or how was your labs before that prep? Oh, I've never gotten a prep or never gotten labs. I've only had like a routine physical once a fucking year. And I'm like,
their doctors are just
you
hitting
did
their
all
foot
that
tendon to make sure their
blindly.
foot.
Yeah, let me just hit your patella, check your deep tendon.
Woo!
Oh,
Meanwhile, your
you're
liver's
good to
like,
take that Anavar,
help.
man.
Your kidney's like dying and your liver's like,
It's like,
me.
yeah, but your knee is very responsive. Like, there for duty. God. Like, guys, that is one thing that really that grinds my gears. See, I said that I was chill. I had nothing grinding my gears, and now
Then you
you're
talked to me and I was like, how can I piss off Meg?
my gears are grinded. But
It's
that
just
really
like,
does,
bro, that was me though. That legit was me. I was
yeah.
just so impatient and delusional. And honestly, like I was naive and excited. I was
Yeah.
so excited to be a bodybuilder, to be accepted in this community. I knew that my physique didn't match the goals that I had for myself. And I just wanted to go from A to Z. as quickly as possible. And the bill
Mhm.
came due, right? The bill came due because guess what? It always fucking comes due. And it took a long time for me to grow into a more mature athlete, a more mature coach, and understand that, like, if you want to bring your best, you need to be fucking patient, whether you are natural, especially if you're natural, or if you're
Mhm.
enhanced, especially if you're enhanced, because there are pros and cons to either journey. And at the end of the day, like, you can't be so short sighted to get to your end goal because you are going to miss out on so much growth potential, both mentally and physically. And you're also going to miss out on life. Like, that is so freaking precious. And people do not understand that. But, like, even though we love and support you and we appreciate you guys watching the podcast, like, the reason why we love and appreciate you guys is because you're never going to get that fucking time back. Yeah, maybe
Mhm.
you're on a walk or doing cardio and you're watching us, you're listening to us, but like that time is still gone. And
Yeah.
like people don't realize that in like the grand scheme of things, that bodybuilding maybe is like maybe a decade of their life, but if we live maybe 80, 90 years, like that's such a small chunk that we don't want to shorten it anymore because you were so short-sighted for
Yeah.
bodybuilding for the 10 years maybe that you competed.
Yeah, and I mean, not to be morbid here, guys, but like this, it's an extreme sport, and dieting in general, just the diet alone with the cardio and the training, it's still not healthy,
Mm-hmm.
especially for the contest prep. But utilizing PEDs, you have to accept that it does come with um, maybe potentially shaving off a little bit of time from your life here. And again, not to be morbid, but that's why you're seeing a lot of the older school bodybuilders who didn't have the access that we do now to get our labs done, to get these health supplements in place, um, passing away more like earlier. And it's more like open bodybuilders, of course, who are pushing way more in regards to PDs and things. But still, females cannot act like, oh, it's not going to affect them because it's going to affect you more.
Mm-hmm.
If you're, turning a blind eye to kind of testing your labs. And I think a lot of people, one, yes, financial, it's still costly, even though, we have ways to go about it in a cheaper way. It does add up. And I'm not being delusional in that sense. Like, shit, I hated last month paying 235 for my labs and then getting more supplements on top. Like it sucks, but I'm like, well, if I'm gonna do this, I need to do it the correct way. Like that's important to me.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a financial thing for people, but then also I think people are scared of what they may see in the labs.
Oh yeah, like they want to bury
Yeah,
their heads in the sand because if they
yeah,
don't see it and it's not
yeah,
there, but guess
yeah.
what? It's still
It's
fun.
there. Yeah, and it may not be presenting as physical or mental symptoms just yet, but when you don't address these things, it will.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it does suck because like I'll use my client Emily, for example. She came to me super excited to get into a growth phase, to get everything right and in order to, level up her physique for figure and everything. We got our labs done, her cortisol's 35. And I'm like, okay, well, we can't push right now. We got to pull back, we got to scale back, we got to support from the inside out. And she wasn't like, oh well shit, like can we just not? And like she was very accepting of this, and she was like, well yeah,
Yeah.
that's what you are the expert here, which I'm not trying to like, you know what is that called, I don't know, flatter
I mean,
myself here,
you are the
but like,
expert. Like she's
yeah,
hiring you because she
that's why
values
she's
your
hiring me.
expertise.
Yeah,
It's you
and
an
she
expert.
realized.
Don't do that to yourself.
Yeah, but like like you hire us for a reason. There are some coaches who do it for their benefit and not really yours,
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing. But for the most part, like Ash and I and Laura, we we just want you to succeed in hitting your goals. And sometimes that may mean not going the same like road that you think. Like we may have to take a step back and then just rerouting. But we'll always get you to your goal if you are, confident in us, you believe in yourself, and you
Mm-hmm.
put in the work.
Yeah, I mean, like if your coach is pushing you to train harder, to
Hmm.
be more consistent, to take your health seriously, like one, it's not for our benefit because you hired us
Yeah.
for a goal, right?
Yeah.
And two, if health markers do pop up, if you have gut issues, if you have adrenal issues, if you have just stress issues where you need therapy and you need to learn how to set better boundaries and have, better coping mechanisms,
Mhm.
anxiety treatment. Like, fuck, guys, I'm working with a therapist. I have my first session on Monday for anxiety around sports psychology. Like, I am not immune to these issues either. Neither are Meg, neither are Laura. But it's like, if you're in a health phase, like, dog, y'all have to understand that those aren't glamorous. Like, yeah, like you hear the word protocol and everyone like jizzes their pants, but like they're expensive, they're kind of boring depending upon like how you view it, and like the results aren't crazy. Like, I mean, like you look better and you feel better, and I don't want to downplay that, which is why we do them. But you give me, let's say, a 10-week health phase, depending upon the severity, versus a 10 to 12 week like PED cycle. Who's going to have the better transformation? Almost, and depending on how fucked up you are,
Yeah.
almost definitely the person using drugs is going to have the better marketable transformation. And unfortunately, on Instagram, that's what helps get inquiries and people to watch you, follow you, learn from you. And not that there's anything wrong with that, because obviously, like, we use drugs in ourselves and our athletes because that's the goals we have. But like,
Yeah.
if you need a health phase, it's because we give a shit about you, not because we want you to have it. Because those things just are slow, and a lot of the times up here, they're hard to like get through because you don't feel like you're progressing in the way that you could be, or you feel like you're falling behind, or yada yada yada. So it's like you guys have to understand that, like, if your coach is saying, "Hey, we need to pull back," it's not for our benefit; it's for yours.
Yeah. And I know people say that and then be like, oh, but you have like a code with new ethics. But like, if you look at my programs, I may have a supplement, like maybe like three max of new ethics. Like, it's not my game. I don't get shit for telling clients to go get a Dutch panel, a GI map, blood work. I don't get shit for that. Like, I'm like,
Mhm.
I don't get any benefit from that. And like you said, like, if Emily came to me, she has good genetics. She has a good shape. If I didn't look at her labs or I looked at her labs and then turned a blind eye to that cortisol and was like, fuck it. Like, let's hop on cycle. Her
Fuck a
transformation
35
now,
cortisol.
yeah,
Peds will
fuck
take
that.
care of
Like,
that.
whatever. Like cortisol is cortisol,
Well,
kind
I
of
mean,
thing.
to be fair, like some coaches would see that high cortisol and they'd be like, we can run PEDs because what will androgens do? They will take that cortisol and
Oh
convert
yeah.
it to cortisone.
Oh yeah.
Boom, problem fixed, right?
But that's funny. That's you thinking that those coaches actually understand that.
Uh,
So,
true. See,
but
experts, experts.
expert. But like they know what they would do is see that and be like, oh, let's just throw ashwagandha in there. You'll
Let's
be
throw
fine.
ashwagandha and let's just throw Proviron in it because fuck.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But the point is like, yeah, these health phases, these gut health phases, whatever. I hate calling them that and stuff, but they don't they're not sexy. They're not going to get us clients. Well, they might get us the right clients who actually give a fuck, which is cool, but it's not a cool marketing. Like, oh, I helped this very, like, she had tanked hormones, hadn't had a period in 4 years after the birth of her last child, was postmenopausal range on hormones. We
Yeah.
reversed that, got her hormones functioning, got her period back. That post got like 12 likes, but it was because the transformation, physical transformation was
Doesn't that like just
cooked
piss
her
you
food
off?
up.
You
It's
like
good.
it's so much fucking hard work and the athlete like feels
Oh,
amazing. Their life is changing. You're so proud
yeah.
of them. And then on Instagram, which again, like it's hard to not get caught up in likes and engagement because that's how you market yourself to
Yeah.
grow your business. And it just fucking flops. Like ain't nobody give two shits about
Yeah.
that. And you're just like, okay.
But like part of me, I used to get in my head about that. Like I would take the post down, like, oh my God, it only
Mhm.
got 12. And I was like, fuck that. My client just worked her ass off. I'm gonna share that. And if the right people come along and see that, then I'll get a longer term client who actually
Yep.
gives a fuck about their health and their well-being. But I mean, if you're in it for the likes, the engagement, the money aspect, you're definitely in it for the wrong reason. You know how many times have you gone to like a coach's Instagram page? You don't even know they're a coach because they won't post their clients' transformations.
Dude, I know, but they have like a roster of like
Like
120
hundreds.
people. And you're
I'm
like,
like,
bro,
how?
where are your clients? It's
It's
just
like,
you.
I know. I don't know. That would come off as a red flag to me if I was looking for a coach and it was just their transformation and their training and their food and all this stuff. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, cool, but like,
What are you gonna do for
what do
me?
you do for me?
Yep,
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly. Like, it's so weird, but they have big rosters.
Yeah, I
Good
think well
for them.
the undertone of that, because you and I we see through the bullshit. Like we
Yeah,
smell
of
the
course.
shit, we like, that's poo poo. But there are
Yeah.
some people that are so broken inside of ourselves. Like also think back to when we were so insecure with ourselves and we saw someone that radiated what we wanted to see in ourselves. They radiated confidence, sensuality, muscles. They looked good. Well, if
Hmm.
they look like that, they'll make me look like that. That's the whole schematic. And that's where it's so frustrating because like you're never going to look like that.
Hmm.
But you find the right coach that will help you to build up your confidence and your skills and your abilities and will do right by you. And you will look even better than you could have ever imagined in your own skin. So it's no longer wishing that you had her body, it's you're building the body and the mind that you want to build for yourselves. But the
Hmm.
marketing is totally different. And because
Yeah.
it's not focusing on like, it's focusing on like long-term longevity versus like short-term quick fixes that sell bullshit cookie cutter programs. That's why. Even though
Yeah.
it's like fucking end it all.
Yeah. But that is what grinds my gears right there about the social media world.
Word,
Ah,
word.
piss.
Man, you were doing so good, and I just had to just.
No, I was so zen. I got my Stanley mug. I'm chill
Oh, did you
today.
get a Stan? Have you had a Stanley, or did you get a Stanley?
This is my
Oh, that Stan. I'm thinking like the
this
bougie.
is my real Stanley. I
Oh,
got it
okay, that's what I
from
was.
QB. Yeah. I will never purchase a Stanley.
I was
You know,
gonna judge just a little bit.
no, no, no. I purchased my white girl of a man a Stanley, and this motherfucker leaves it on the counter every day. But fair enough, it is a big boy. It's like a thick Stanley.
Yeah,
It's like a chode of Stanley, and it can't go in like the cup holders. So I need to get him another white girl Stanley because he does like it. But
that's hilarious, dude. I've had this. It's a full gallon.
that thing is, yeah.
I'm telling you, like people are like, oh, do you have a purse or anything? No, I have a phone that has like card holder for 4 cards, and I have this. So it's like I have my water bottle so I can stay hydrated, but it's also a fucking weapon, right? Like
Mhm.
this will kill somebody.
That
It
will.
will.
Yeah. You know what you could do with like a Stanley? Maybe put like brass knuckles somehow on it, like on the
Dude, I
yeah,
feel like I found out that those are illegal. Like,
brass
I don't know,
knuckles.
like Eric, what was it? Brass knuckles. Varies by state material, but like to have brass knuckles on, like there are some states that are like, no, that's too powerful.
They ain't illegal in Florida.
Dude,
Let's see.
Florida's
In
awesome.
Florida.
Florida and South Carolina are like some of the most like we don't give a fuck what you do states, and I fucking love it.
There we go. Illegal in Florida. They're legal in Florida, but only if you carry them openly. If you conceal brass knuckles, you could face legal
Just,
consequences.
just,
Just like wearing
just
them
like
around.
walk around. Oh my god,
Interesting.
I want a pair of brass knuckles now. That's hilarious.
Shit. Tasers, stun guns, knives, and pepper spray are all legal in Florida to just carry.
I believe that.
I'm gonna come in strapped.
Meg, you are strapped. Look at you.
I got my little baby guns.
Bitch, you are 5'7", 200 pounds. You were the definition of strapped. Like if you had any more weapons on you, like you'd be a fucking domestic terrorist. Just
God. Uh, dude,
Jesus.
I'm a very inflamed individual right now because Will works on me at home, like some massage work. And then the next day I went to see Matt for like the specific
Mhm.
hamstring, whatever I'm dealing with. And then the next day I got an Epsom salt bath, did red light therapy because I was like, oh, I'm gonna wake up super crispy on Thursday for my check-in. Woke up, I was fucking 3.5 pounds up because I'm inflamed from like all the body work and all of it. It just like started creeping up. Like I still look fine, but my weight is 199. And I was like, well, there goes my chance of having more food this week. But
That
dude,
cracks me up. Like again, it's just so interesting to me. Like our different like lives and genetics. Because I remember I would have been 17.
Mhm.
Yeah, 17. I remember the day I woke up and I saw that I was under 200 pounds and I cried. I was so happy because like I had lost by that point like 60 pounds. And when I
Yeah,
saw 199, I was like, holy fucking shit. And
that's
now
so
here you are, 199, and you're bummed that Cam isn't going to give you more.
fuck.
Fucking Cam.
Well, and we added in drugs this week. So I'm like, shit, everything's kind of going up, like water retention from that nitrogen increase, whatever.
Oh yeah.
But so like now I'm realistic with it. It's just data kind of thing. But I'm like, fuck. Like I was expected to be like 195 and all this shit, but no.
Yeah.
But I'm very curious. I think that what the top of my last cycle I got up to 215.
Hmm.
Hmm. I was like, I don't know if I want to be 215 cam. Because
Yeah.
I was a thick bitch.
I
But I
mean,
still
yeah, I mean,
felt pretty good.
you weren't
Yeah,
fat by any means, but I can definitely like
definitely.
still it's still like heavy. You know what I'm saying? Like,
It's heavy. That's what I mean, is like I was gassed. Like I was heavy.
do you think
Like my
did you ever
joint.
like need a CPAP to
No.
sleep? No, that's good.
Will uses one. But no, my sleeping, I sleep like a brick.
That's good.
Well, maybe not. I roll around a lot. But I mean, I got Rolo here on me, and then Chip sleeps up right here by my freaking head. And then Will barely has any room in the bed, whatever. But like we take up like 80% of the bed. He gets like this 20%. But yeah, we need to probably improve that.
That's hilarious. Finn has done this thing, and he really does it when it starts to get a bit colder. Not
Hmm.
only like in the house, but like, just around. He
Yeah.
will make it a point where Eric and I like to spoon or snug because we're that annoying ass
Yeah,
married
of course.
couple. Finn will jump on Eric, lay on his side, and just look at him. And that is his way of saying, and so
Mm,
Eric will move out and Finn will get in between us.
in between.
So he
Oh,
like is like a little fucking teaspoon in between like
yeah.
two big spoons. And it's the cutest thing. But like
That is cute.
entitled little bitch.
God. Oh, I wanted to pick your brain about something
Pick
because
my
I was
nose.
listening to, yeah, pick your nose. Um, I was listening to Fuad's podcast and
The
he
one
was
they just
giving,
did.
yeah, bro chat, I think. Yeah, bro chat. But they were talking about how some people were offended that he sponsored an 18-year-old athlete because they were saying, oh, that promotes the usage of steroids and all this stuff and untainable whatever for the younger demographics. And they were saying, like, no, because we're just sponsoring him for his accomplishments in the
Mhm.
bodybuilding space. We don't care how he gets there. Obviously, we're not delusional, but that's not marketing steroid use. They're using, that's just
Yeah.
Mike Van Wyck said, like Nike sponsoring a famous football player. Obviously, he's probably juiced up too, but Nike's just because sponsoring him for his athletic abilities. So what do you think with sponsoring younger people? 18, like you're an adult.
I am totally okay. So I started watching, like actually IRL watching. And so
Yeah, I
this is
love
gonna
it.
sound bad, but is Mike the one that looks like a neo-Nazi or is that Seth?
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
okay. So Mike
Yeah,
looks like the
Mike has like
neo-Nazi.
all the tattoos.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, okay. But so Seth is the one when he was speaking, I was like, get him, because whatever Seth said, I agree with.
With
One,
the
he's not a
responsibility factor.
child, he
Yeah,
is
he's not
an
a child.
18-year-old man.
Hmm.
Again, they called him a kid because, like they said, they were old,
Yeah, they're
right?
old as shit.
We're 28. We would still probably say an
Yeah.
18-year-old kid.
I call them kids. Yeah. I call 20-year-olds
That's
kids.
right. You're an adult. You're an adult at that point.
Yeah.
Like you have actions and responsibilities. All we can do is educate you. We can
Yes.
tell you our mistakes. We can give
Mhm.
you advice. It is up to you to make your own mistakes and make your
Yeah.
own choices. And hopefully you learn from others' mistakes and hopefully you learn from your mistakes. But the minute you turn 18, I understand your brain is not developed, whether you are male or female,
Mhm.
doesn't fucking matter. You are an adult.
Yeah.
You have ownership over your actions. And if you don't and you blame the world for your problems, that's your problem. So,
Hmm.
as far as like, do I have a problem with it? Hell no.
Yeah.
Hell no. Because he's an adult. And
Hmm.
if he can vote, if he can
Fight for our country.
fight for our country, yeah, like
Buy a pack of
obviously, like,
cigarettes.
that's what I'm saying. Like, I have no problem with it. And I hope to God the kid surrounds himself. Here's what I hope for the kid. The kid. I hope he
Mhm,
surrounds himself with people that genuinely give a fuck about him. I
mhm.
hope that he doesn't lose himself to clout. I hope he doesn't lose himself to social media. I hope he doesn't lose himself for money, fame, fortune, whatever. I hope he
Yeah.
has a good network of people, especially men, that will show him what it's like to be a good man, to, to provide for himself, provide for his family. I hope that the men teach him how to treat a woman. And I hope he learns how to treat himself well, because I know men have their own mental health issues too. That is what I hope for that young man. But as far as like, do I think that Fuad and him are pieces of shit? Hell no. Hell
Yeah.
no.
Yeah. I think, and it goes to say, like, you know how people attack people for saying, oh, you're claiming that you're natural or whatever because they don't actively post that they're on a cycle or something. Like, I'm very open about my usage. I'll be like, yeah, I've been off cycle for 4 months. Oh, back on cycle. Like, I'm not one to like not say that. But when people don't say something, they just assume based on how they look. Oh, you're running something, you're not telling us, like this is false advertisement, yada
Mhm.
yada. Like, no. I think that's bullshit. Like, I don't think we need to come out and say that we're using X, Y, and Z because at the end of the day, they are illegal substances.
I
Like,
mean,
like, do people forget that?
I
Like,
mean, not only do they
honestly.
forget it, but it's like, it's on, dude, this is gonna sound so, I don't know what the differentials on like ages, like, how there's like millennials, Gen Z, like, I don't
Yeah.
know what the fuck we are because
I
we're
don't
like
mean,
right on the border.
I think we're millennials.
Eric said we're on the line because what delineates is when you got your first smartphone, and that for me was high school. So we're like on the
Yeah.
border between millennials and I think Gen Z.
Okay.
I digress. I'm still
Yeah.
60 years old.
Yes.
Um, it's like people are entitled. They
Yeah.
think they deserve to know every goddamn thing about every
Mhm.
goddamn person. And that
Yeah.
is why they are so stressed out and anxiety prone, because they are
Hmm.
so focused on either A, how to make progress, they never make progress. They're worried about what everyone else is doing that they forget to live their life and do what they need to do to be successful. And they're just nosy. They're just nosy. And I'm not going to get on a high horse. I have been there. I have been insecure with myself where I wanted to know what everyone else is doing. I was so obsessed with making progress and finding like the perfect calculation formula to have the best whatever, whatever, whatever. Like,
Hmm.
I've been there and I've done that, which is why I get so worked up and pissed off, because it's like, God damn it, I wasted so much of my
Wasting
life.
time. Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. And I've been there too, like
Yep.
stalking the crap out of like wellness competitors, seeing their training. I'm like, that doesn't really matter because I have tried to train exactly like them. And did it produce anything? No, not at
I see
all.
someone like the Olympia girls training, and I'm like, okay, this is dramatic. I think I'd kill myself if I had to like train like that. Where it's like they bring out booty bands and they're doing like no weight, and I'm like, I would be so fucking,
Yeah,
I'd be depressed.
yeah, same. Like there are cases where they have to train like that. Like take for
For
example,
sure. Yeah.
Lily. Yeah. Like she had to downsize, or not really downsize, but well, yeah, her glutes, they were a little too dominant. So she did have to taper off her training. I'm like, if I ever get to that point where the judges tell me you have to, like, I would have to alter my training so much that I wouldn't enjoy it anymore,
Mhm.
I would move up to WPD. Easy decision.
Really?
Oh, for fucking sure. If they tell me, that I have to significantly bring down like my quads or my hamstrings, because if you look at some of the wellness girls, yes, they award some heavier muscular
Mhm.
girls, but then a lot of them just look like they have bikini legs with like big old glutes like stuck on.
I have seen that, but
I
honestly, that made
don't
me
like
so
that.
excited. That made me so excited that you said that. Because, like, listen, I want to see you thrive in wellness because I know that's you want.
Yeah.
But also, I have this weird fucking obsession with muscle mommies. And if you were ever like, fuck it, I'm going up to WPD, I'm gonna be like,
Do it. Do
do it. I'm gonna be like, give me
it.
your OnlyFans. I want to subscribe. I want feet pics. Like, I want everything. I want the Megan Santa Barbara experience.
But like legit, like if I would have to cut out all of my direct quad training, and I already have like quite a bit. Like
Yeah,
I
dude.
have hack squats, leg extensions, and like one quad bias leg press. That's it over the course of my 4 training days. So if they tell me like I have to downsize those, sure, it's gonna suck not being a little, I am kind of ego driven on the hack squat, but it would probably benefit my physique. But fucking go figure, if I do that and lower down the weight and bump up the volume there, they'll probably grow better and bigger. So that's what makes me scared. But no, if I have to reduce my training and I no longer enjoy going into the gym and training, like I brought back RDLs. Like I was told like, oh, well, you can't do that because it's gonna thicken your waist, it's gonna make your upper body bigger. And I'm like, my upper body's smaller now. Like I'm
Yeah.
gonna do it. We're gonna see how it goes. See how the cookie crumbles kind of thing. And I have no problem with adjusting my training, but if I do have to resort to like booty bands and sets of 15 to 25 on every single fucking thing,
Hmm.
then I'm just gonna allow my body to do its thing. Like I don't want to sound like I could walk on the Olympia stage and clean house with WPD
You
right now
could.
because I'm
I'll say it.
small. Well, no, I'm
Fuck you, I'll
small.
say it.
I'm small, but give me like 6 months of training back and shoulders again lightly, and I'll match them
Dude,
easily. That's
easy.
just how my stupid genetics are. Like it wants to grow. But like I'm not complaining. I'm just saying, like,
You
if I
bitch
get that
that
free
you
time,
were the definition of complaining.
I'm not complaining.
I'm not
But
complaining, but
but but you know what I'm saying. Like if you have to change your training that much that you no longer enjoy bodybuilding, pick a different division. But for some people, like Laura Lee can't do wellness. It'll take her like 5 fucking 6 years. She
Mhm,
can't do figure. But like somebody where you are on that fine line between wellness, WPD, I could go up easily.
mhm.
I can't go down to figure, or I'm sorry, I can't go down to bikini. No fucking way.
Not without taking like a cheese grater to your entire fucking body.
I
And
don't
just
even know how. I always think about this, like your life after bodybuilding. What do you think you're gonna do for fitness?
I will still probably continue to.
Training.
Well, so here's the, I will always like be in the gym, right? Because I do
Yeah.
love being in the gym. I love moving my body. I think that's very important, especially when you come from my history of
Yeah.
being overweight, uneducated. I think about my mom, who her life is literally in a chair because she can't fucking move.
Mhm.
Like she can't fucking move, right? So it's like I'm gonna move my body because it's such
Yeah.
a fucking blessing to move my body. But like even though the goal might not be to like maximize muscle growth and muscle potential, like I would love to honestly just have almost like a bro split and see like how big can I
Oh yeah, you said
actually,
that one.
yeah, you
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Because like it's
Yeah,
not
and just
gonna be
push.
huge, but like if I could be a little bit bigger up top, have some lats, have some rear delts, some rhomboids, some traps, I wouldn't be upset about it. Like my quads are
Mhm.
starting to grow a little bit. My hamstrings are starting to grow for a little bit. Not to brag, but I hit 142 the other day on the scale.
I
So like
know.
she makes
Good.
like that's cute. She's like my shits weigh that much, but Chip weighs that much, Rolo weighs that much. But yeah, I would want to see how big I could get and just
Without having restrictions, kind of
yeah,
thing.
just like have fun with it, right? Because like I mean, don't get me wrong, I love training legs 3 days a week.
Hmm.
But Austin said it perfectly when we were on our mentorship call. He was like, the training for bikini and wellness, he's like, it is boring because it is the same movements. You need glutes, you need hams, you need quads, especially for wellness, a lot more dominant, and you need a touch of upper body. He's like, but the training is just boring. It's repetitive. It's mostly all lower body. And like for some, like, yes, it's a lot of fun, but like you said, like if you had to remove hack squats, if you had to remove all of these other things, like you would start to get depressed and probably bored.
Yeah, like I can see personally my feedback being that I do have to probably bring down like my quads a little bit. And I think it would take me some time because it took me some time to cut out upper body completely.
Mhm.
But I think I could reduce my training down to 3 days per week, hams, glutes,
Yeah.
for a good amount of time and be okay with it. But yeah, I agree. Like I look at other people's splits, I'm like, shit, you got delts and arms today. Oh, you got back today.
Mhm.
Like when do you hit legs? Oh, just twice a week? Shit. Like
Once a week, like I want
yeah, like
like
once a week. Like all I do is legs.
yep. Essentially
Yes.
me too. Except for I have one upper body day that is like delts and the upper back, but like everything
Hmm.
else is like when I suck like back extensions, so like back extensions, hip thrusts, pendulum squat, reverse hack squat. Like it's these things. It's delts, very very little, but everything else is glutes, hams, and quads, and it's fun. It's fun, but like it is. It is mentally difficult for me to sometimes push through that scarcity mindset when it comes to doing like 8 sets of leg press a week. Like that to me is like sometimes you get inside your head, even though I'm not a big girl, I'm not pushing big weight, but still, especially when I'm like focusing on like knees to tits, and you're like essentially giving yourself a fucking mammogram, like that can get kind
Yeah.
of mentally scary where
Hey,
you're like, bruh.
legit, when I do my single leg press, this is my knee. It has to go in between my tits because it's like it just goes right in there and just hugs. But
Dude, exactly. Or doing a fucking T-bar row, that you have to get just right because your tits,
mm,
literally like the Red Sea, they just fucking fall apart. I'm
hard.
like, this shit's so
Mhm.
uncomfortable. Mm.
God, I hated chest supported anything.
Oh, I know,
Terrible.
dude.
But yeah, but back to it. I think, the training aspect, and that's when people give up though. It's hard to
Mm.
stay within your division. Like, you see a lot of these wellness girls. I was in the same boat though. Like I was like, oh, I can still afford to do a little upper body. And it's
Mm.
like, nah, bitch. Like, no, you can't. Like earlier this year, I was still doing once a week, and I was like, why am I doing that? I cut it out completely, and now it's very boring, but it's what I have to do. And I enjoy it. I do. But I am the same with you. I'm like, shit, I'm beating up my body right now. Like, all I do is hinge and press. And at
Mhm.
the end of the week, it's a lot of working sets. And then I look at some people's programs where they're also wellness girls only training lower, a touch of upper, and they're doing like 3 to 4 working sets. I'm like, how?
Mhm.
Who's coming into my house right now?
Hello?
Hello?
Spooky.
Hi, babe. Hi. I'm on the podcast. You scared the shit out of me. Oh, God.
Oh my God, that was awesome. No, for sure. I mean, like there are some days that like, for example, my posterior day today, which is I have hip thrust, leg curl, back extension, calves, and abduction. So 5 movements. But like those are the only times that I hit hamstring. So it is 4 leg curls, 4 back extensions. But again, I am 140. My legs, like my back extensions, although they're yes glute focused, it is the hardest movement I do. Like I just suck at that movement. It's only like 30 pounds for 12 to 15 reps, and I struggle, right? It's pathetic. But it is 4 working sets, but that's the only time I ever do it. Now, granted, if I was Megan fucking Santa Barbara, RDLing 300 pounds, ain't no way I could do 4 sets. Ain't no way in hell I would just fucking snap. But it is just so dependent upon like programming like movements that you suck at for the right like exercises for the right muscle groups that clearly need to be brought up, and also like understanding that like just because you're really good at an exercise, like maybe you get some ROI, maybe you don't. Like obviously you get great ROI on your RDLs versus me, like not so much. But the back extensions, like I said, I'm a weak bitch, so clearly I need to be doing back extensions.
Yeah, but I mean, I do the same thing. I'm not gonna sit here and act like I never do 3 to 4 sets of things. Like
Yeah.
for abductions on one of my like glute focus days, I do 3 sets.
Mhm.
There's some things that I do 3 sets, like cable kickbacks and things like that.
Oh yeah.
But my heavy, heavy working sets, like I get, I finished my first working set. I'm like, fuck, I got another one. Like what? And there's people out here doing like RP of 5. And like, oh yeah, got 3 more sets to go. And like, oh, I hate that when you like ask somebody how many sets you got left, and they're like 3, maybe 4. And I'm like, how? How do you have maybe 4?
You know what I hate lately? People are not wearing deodorant. And listen, I know it's getting cooler, but in South Carolina and Florida, it's still fucking hot. You need to be wearing deodorant, cologne, something year round because you stank. You stank.
The opposite of that though, the the girls who and guys, Axe isn't really a thing anymore, but like they'll spray like all the cheap shit. And don't get me
Honestly,
wrong, I
dog,
love
I
the
would
cheap
much rather smell like an Abercrombie and Fitch
that
smell
instead.
smell like a fucking fishmonger. Because there are some
But
women.
sometimes
Oh,
it's overkill and you taste it. you taste it
Bitch,
in
I'm
your mouth.
tasting the fucking fishery that's in there sometimes. I'd
Yeah.
much rather taste fucking Axe body spray than someone's
Yeah.
Gucci mama that hasn't been waxed in two fucking
Mm,
weeks. 'Cause there's that too. Like the girls are just as bad.
yeah, that's nasty.
He's nasty.
There's sometimes I forget my deodorant and I freak out. And then I will literally I would stop at a store and get some. But our gym has like sprayable deodorant in our bathroom.
Oh, that's so
Very
nice.
clutch. It has little mouthwash cups too and everything. Yeah. I
Yeah.
really want to get a shower there. It looks like it's a nice shower. You go to like a fancy hotel and they got the shampoo and conditioners. I just have a feeling my hair would smell good. Might do it once. Might do it
Love
once.
that. I love that. What are you grateful for? And then we'll sign off.
Ah, what am I grateful for? Shit. Well, I'm grateful that my health is actually healthy and I can do a
Mm,
cycle. That's cool. Snaps there.
love that.
I'm grateful for shit. Hmm. There's a lot this week. I mean, I'm grateful for my friend Jill. We're celebrating her birthday. So I get to actually a lot of birthdays this week. I got to buy Laura her birthday gift. I love
Mhm.
buying people birthday gifts. So I
Good.
guess I'm grateful for my friends who have birthdays right now. But like
Translation, I'm grateful for my friends that are still alive.
still
We
alive.
made
I'm
it.
still kicking it. But like I get to go buy her birthday gift tomorrow and I'm like, yeah, it's fun. Um, but I'm also grateful that it's October.
It's
Love
October
it.
3rd. It's the Mean Girls thing.
Dude, the Mean Girls,
The
20
Mean
years
Girls.
ago. 20 fucking years ago. Can you believe that? 20 years. Did that make you feel old? Because I felt real old when I saw that. I was like,
Bro, I mean, we're almost 30, dog.
fuck off, Ash. I know.
Honestly, I am excited to turn 30. I really am. I know everyone's like,
30, flirty, what is it? 30, flirty, and thriving.
I call it dirty 30. But like
So,
honestly, in your 20s, there's so much that you're learning and trying to discover, and you do a lot of things that maybe you don't want to do just to fit in because you don't know
mhm.
who you are and you're not secure with who you are. But in your 30s, like you've gained enough life experience where you start like doing things that you want to do and spending time with people who actually love you for you
Yeah.
because like you're finally secure with who you are. That's what 30s is. And like that's
Well,
why I
that's what 30s is, what it should be. There's
yeah.
some 30-year-olds who are very immature.
Well, I'm not that. I'm
No,
mean.
yeah, you're you. But I agree. I'm excited. I I don't know if I'm excited, but I forget my age all the time though. I just turned
28. You're 28.
28. I turned 28. Yep.
Because
See?
I'm
Like,
5 months older than you.
damn.
I know, 5 months older and like somehow like 50 pounds lighter. And it just doesn't make sense. Like I talk to Eric about this all the time. I was like, she is younger than me. Yet like look at her.
But she looks like a
Look at
hoss.
her.
But what are you grateful for?
Dude, I am grateful that this has been a year of
A
us
year,
and Laura
52.
like having fun and like educating people and like shooting shit and like talking about like things that we love and sharing experiences to educate, to inform, and to just like also entertain. Like that is so fucking cool, you know? And Eric and I were talking about like the analytics and stuff like that. And he's like, "Yeah, I
Yeah.
haven't been posting that because he's like, honestly, you guys are just having so much fun like being yourselves." He's like, "It doesn't
I,
matter." And I was like, "Honestly, I don't see us stopping until we're just wanting to be done, you know?" And it's
yeah.
like I'm just having fun spending time with like my best friends, talking about something that we all love. And like I said, like it's just so fucking cool that we get to do
Yeah.
this. And we live in different states. And like that's so cool. So cool.
Yeah. I know. I sent that her birthday gift to her. I was like, shit, she's all the way up in Massachusetts.
Fucking I know. I was
Wow.
like, Laura, you don't need to be looking there. Come down south.
Yeah,
Behave.
seriously, just a little bit. Like, just come down a little bit.
Just live like
Because I really
North
do want
Carolina.
to,
North Carolina, just the
yeah,
tip.
yeah, the tip, just the tip. But we need like a little TPF, like meetup. We need
Two
the gal pals
pounds.
together.
Maybe y'all could come in here since Uflex is a pretty good gym, and you guys could like stay with the
I
Markhams.
do like youth bucks.
Mhm.
And Will likes South Carolina too.
Yeah, bring well.
We'll think about it because
Build
we
a
still don't
fort.
have plans for the Thanksgiving, but
Well, if
we'll
you want to
see.
come up, let me know because we would love to have you.
Well, we have to convince Laura to come down. Well, depending on if she gets lost in the Bermuda Triangle, but Hopefully not. Hopefully not, because she has some birthday gifts at her doorstep that she
I know,
needs.
right? All right, girl. I love you. You have a
All
nice
right.
weekend. If you need anything, let me know,
Love
and
you.
we'll see you next week.
See you next week.
Bye.